D, wait for it, light bulb.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my week in review, where I come to you every Sunday with 3 entertainment stories that I personally find interesting, and then we discuss them down below. Also down below are the 3 articles I read to do this story, so again, you can read those and come up with your own opinion and leave your comments down below. First off, if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube recently did a bot and old ad cleanse/purge, and there was some collateral damage. So consider liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos, and I thank you in advance. So why don't we just dive right into these 3 stories. So the first story is a sad one. The great Swedish film and stage actor Max van Sydow, who has died at the age of 90. Now, you might remember him in different roles, the title role in The Exorcist and Christ in The Greatest Story Ever Told, and his Oscar-nominated part, the slave-driven lass in Pell the Conqueror, I think that's how you say it. But his passport to cinema heaven will be his many remarkable performance under the direction of Ingmar Bergman. I think that's how you say his name. Please don't get upset with me if I messed any of them up. Anyway, Soo Daav made his mark internationally in 1957 as the delusioned 14th century knight Antonius Block in Bergman's The Seventh Seal. Now, recently he made an appearance on Game of Thrones as the Three-Eyed Crow, you might remember. And it's really sad when anyone like this dies. Obviously, death is the part of the human process, but of course, it's always sad to see such a great actor leave us. So that's my first story of the day. And so for my second story of the day, on Instagram on Monday, writer Marc Bernardin posted a picture of the title page of the Star Trek Next Generation spec script titled Past Present, and a story to go along with it. Now, in the picture's caption, Bernardin explained that in his junior year of college, he entered a screenwriter contest where the requirement was to write a spec script for a current airing series. Now, there was one show that he loved, he said, and it was an obvious choice. It was Star Trek The Next Generation. And Barnard explained, and in it was the very first time I wrote words that were coming out of existing characters' mouths. The first thing that I looked anything like a screenplay. Bernardin went on to explain what he loved about Next Generation, the Enterprise, the aliens, and Captain Picard. Spoiler alert, he won the contest, and while he says it took a long time to live up to that early win, it paid off. Barnard concluded, "Today was my first day as supervising producer on Star Trek Picard. All good things come to those who wait." Bernard boasts a varied but nonetheless rich list of qualifications. According to Wikipedia, Bernardin is a TV and comic book writer as well as a prolific entertainment journalist. He currently hosts the Fat Man Beyond podcast with friend Kevin Smith, and early in his career, he was an intern on, wait for it, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now, I think this is a great addition to Star Trek Picard. I have been covering Star Trek Picard with episodic episodes. You can check some of those out right here. But for the most part, I don't like the show. If you watch those, I think it's very boring, and I think the writing is the part that's really lacking. So hopefully he can add some perspective to it and add to it as a fan. I think that when you have shows, any type of show, I think hiring a fan to help craft the show is always the best idea. Look at the MCU. Kevin Feige is a huge fan of Marvel comic books, and I think that it shows, and I think that that's always the best course in these kind of things. So hopefully season 2 will be a lot better than season 1. So that's my second story of the day. So for my last story of the day, it has now been 10 years since Tron Legacy hit theaters, and while fans continue to hold out hope for a possible Tron 3, news has arrived that Disney Plus has scrapped a Tron TV series that was being developed by writer John Ridley. He also wrote 12 Years a Slave and Three Kings. Now, The Hollywood Reporter brought the news about the Tron TV series being scrapped before it even got its balance on its light cycle. Now, this show was never officially announced, but before last year's D23 Expo, they heard that it was going to be announced at that convention. But just days before the presentation, the studio decided not to go ahead with the announcement. Now, Ridley had reportedly been working on it for several months when it was given the axe. Now, the show has never officially been greenlit. This marks at least the second potential high-profile genre project that never came to pass from Ridley and a Disney-owned brand. In 2015, he was hired to create a Marvel show for ABC. But since Marvel TV has essentially been vacuumed into Marvel Studios, it's unclear whether that project is still clinging to life or if it's put out to pasture. As for the scrapped Tron series, details are so scarce that I don't have any single piece of concrete information about aside from Ridley's involvement. Would it have been an animated series, like Tron Uprising, a live action, a prequel, a sequel, set entirely in the grid? Did it follow Olivia Wilde's core character? The possibilities are seemingly endless for a world as cool as that one. And it's baffling to me that Disney can't seem to crack a story that would keep the property in the forefront of pop culture consciousness. Now, especially on Disney Plus, which seems like the perfect home for a mid-budget, low-pressure version that could theoretically jumpstart interest in the franchise and maybe even lead into a third feature film. Speaking of a third film, they've heard that a third movie is still in development with Jared Leto potentially attached, but it's unclear if that will ever actually happen. But even if we never see any other stories set in the Tron universe, at least we'll have that kick-ass Daft Punk score from Tron Legacy. Now, I have to say, when I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, there was going to be a Tron series? How great is that? I mean, if I like Tron, but I really liked Tron Legacy, and I liked, and Tron Uprising I thought was a great animated show. I really wish they would have kept that going. And I think that there was so much potential there, and to just scrap it without, like, going just a little bit forward would have been, is in my opinion, sad. But hey, you know, maybe we'll get one, maybe not, who knows. So tell me, what do you guys think about these three stories? How do you feel? Of course, Max von Sydow dying is sad, of course, and everything. If you don't think it's sad when people die, you're crazy. But how do you feel about Marc Bernardin becoming the supervisor on Star Trek Picard, and how do you feel about that show? And then how do you feel about this this Tron series being canceled before it even got up and running? And would you have liked to have seen it? Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next Sunday with my week in review. You guys have a good week. Bye. Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that geek what icon and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and join me every Sunday with my week in review.